Welcome to upstate New York, where the Global SimRacing Channel presents the opening round of the 2020 Season 3 action in the Lotus 79 Sunday Grand Prix Series. These drivers venture into Watkins Glen International hot off of last season, where Gernot Prix took the title by just 8 points over a winless Antti Lepista. And while Lepista remained winless over those 12 weeks, 7 different drivers stood on the top step of the podium, with Jamie Fluke getting the last one at Silverstone. Watkins Glen was not on the Lotus 79 circuit last season, but fittingly, the track that introduced many North Americans to a passion in motor racing in the 1940s is where we introduce the season today. In a series where momentum from week to week is so important, who will be the one to take the first victory this season? Will it be a reigning victor from last year, or someone else looking to grab the gold? Let's find out together live on GSRC, where up in the booth today will be Asi and Puhaka, joining yours truly, Nick Schmeg. Sean Crackers Ambrose has just finished a hike around the State Park's Gorge Trail here, and he'll be directing using cameras provided by Dougie Beard. From a track that used to run over 6 miles through the village and see cars go airborne over a set of railroad tracks, New York's Thunder Road has drastically evolved. To get a better look at today's Watkins Glen, let's take a look at the GSRC track guide.
Welcome to Watkins Glen International. Situated in upstate New York, just south of the Finger Lakes, this track has seen it all. Few road circuits can boast hosting Formula One, IndyCar, NASCAR, and IMSA during its history. Though it did have a brief fallow period in the early 80s, thanks to the investment of local companies, it's grown into one of the premier road tracks in the U.S. With 4 layouts to choose from that range between 2.5 and 3.5 miles in length, lap times can vary greatly. But it also means it's suitable for lots of different levels of racing, from amateur to pro. The one thing that stays consistent no matter which car and which layout you're using is that Watkins Glen means speed. Many of the straights are very long, and the majority of the corners are fast sweepers. Some of them include a surprising amount of banking as well. Combine that with the proximity of the barriers, and this historic circuit retains a very old-school feel. Drivers in lesser-powered cars can expect drafting battles, while higher-powered machinery will test the skill and bravery of their pilots. Some of the turns are visually iconic, such as the carousel and the S's. Others, like the inner loop, the chute, and turn 9, greatly challenge even the expertly skilled. And of course, we haven't even mentioned the drastic amount of elevation change drivers experience. Between its rich history and popularity among drivers, this track stays busy and seems likely to be that way for a long, long time.
There you see a couple laps around Watkins Glen International and a couple different cars there on the GSRC track guide. It's a 5.5 kilometer course, but Ozzy, despite the track being pretty long, it doesn't offer you many places to catch your breath.
No, not really. I mean, you got the back straight because you don't have the inner chute here or the inner loop here, so you don't have the chicane. You can catch your breath here a little bit, but you're gonna be 2 wide, 3 wide heading in there, so it's gonna be a bit sketchy. And otherwise, it is one of the old school circuits, which is what I like a lot. You got this wonderful flow. You got these fast corners that suit this car so well. You got a lot of downforce in the car, not necessarily in the setup, but in the car. And the track itself is gorgeous. 3.4 miles, 11 turns, upstate New York, USA, Watkins Glen, some 260 miles from Manhattan, New York. So it's not quite on the sky drop of Empire State Building. In fact, it's actually closer to Buffalo, New York, but it's still a gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous circuit. Got a lot of history, and I've never, ever seen a boring race at Watkins Glen, Nick.
Yeah, I don't think I have either. It's a privilege to be able to call Watkins Glen International my home track. And for all of our new viewers today, just tuning in, we've got some new drivers on track, but we've got some race details as well to take a look at. This is the first round of the season. Like I said, hot off of last season. It's round 1 of 13. We've got a bonus week in there this summer. 28 laps around here at the Glen. Open setups and incident points. 17x will get you a drive-through penalty, and 25 will boot you from the server. There you go. And we've got some points just to recap from last season. I already mentioned, Ozzy, that Freisha had won by 8 points, but there are some other names that were creeping up there that we might see more of this season.
Indeed, so Antti Lepistö in the second place. Now, he won't be as active this season, I must say. He'll be concentrating on the Camel GD series, so there you go. He'll be driving it there with the Nissan, but I hope we see Antti at least in some of the races this season as well. Nick Thyssen, perhaps a bit of a surprise to round out the podium in the points, but he was in an excellent form last season, won the Nürburgring round, won at Interlagos as well. Teemu Vaskilampi fourth after he got through his crash troubles early on in the season, and he won a round as well. And Alex Milward, Alex Mildonado, he rounded out their top 5, and he's gonna be very hungry for some great finishes. And how about team points from last season, Nick? Just briefly, of course, we've re-rolled the teams, but last season it was Milward at least successful in one of the championships.
Yeah, absolutely. He was part of the Warsteiner Arrows racing team there with Herner and Hall as well. 384 points to finish off the season. That's a 29-point victory over the AS Racing Team Williams, who they were not second for most of the season. Auto Delta Alfa Romeo was very consistent throughout the year, kind of fell off in the last couple of rounds, so they find themselves down in third. And then the Martini Racing Team Lotus and Team Reebok down fourth and fifth. That's kind of where they were sitting all season. But like you said, teams have been mixed up this season, so who knows what we're going to see in the next 13 weeks.
What we're going to see is a lot of interesting action, and it starts here from the qualifying. I'm just going to point out briefly, we got a tough field out here today. Thomas Simon leading in the qualifying so far, but look out for some of the other guys who've done a lot of practice. Alex Milward, one of the names I will keep an eye on. Teemu Vaskilampi, of course, as well as Gernot Fritsche. But then we got Jamie Hall in there, as well as number 11, Andy T. Now, Andy T is a name not familiar from the broadcasts, but he started out last season rather, in the second split mostly, and ran the weekday races, not the Sunday broadcast race. But he'll be very, very focused on this season, running the broadcast races, and this guy is fast. He's yet another fast guy from UK to join in with Jamie Hall, with Alex Milward as well. So he's going to be someone to watch out pretty much this season. And he can take the fight to Tamás, to Alex, to Gernot Fritsche, and to all of those guys.
Yeah, it's certainly always fun, especially when you get these very popular, these fan favorite tracks here, like Watkins Glen. You get a lot of names that no matter what the car is, they're going to pop up and be competitive. And we saw that a lot last season. This series, very competitive. Mike Rasimus, the only New Yorker in the field. He's going to pull off there at the end of the first lap. Saw Rasimus pretty competitive last season, but couldn't quite get the win done. He's going to fall back to 6th because I think Freak Tenkata and Teemu Vaskilampi just bumped him down actually to 7th now.
Yes, indeed, and the first lap should be a little bit quicker here. Not necessarily for everyone. Alex Milward finishing up his second lap. Andy T is just coming home from his first one. Alex doesn't improve. Let's see Andy's first lap. Okay, he's gonna come across the line here. Where will he go? 134.8. That's a bit of a disappointment. Only 10th. But let's see if his second lap will be better. Gromberg coming over the line as well. Does improve a little bit and bumps himself all the way up to 9th place. So a lot of interesting drivers here, a lot of new drivers as well, and some of the returnees too. Gernot in the lead, Tamás Simon second, Alex Milward third, Chris Baumann fourth, Nick Thyssen fifth. No big surprises there, but look out for the race itself, and look how tight the front of that field is, especially from Alex Milward all the way to Freek Tenkate, third through 6th.
Yeah, absolutely. We just saw Jamie Hall, last year's winner at Mosport, come across the line, and he'll be 10th place right now with a 134.8. That is still less than a second off of the pole time.
Tamás just running through the last corners, but that doesn't look like a very good time. In fact, Tamás, I think, is on his second lap. Yeah, he's just trying out, I think his race setup or something, trying out and seeing what happens. Gernot spins out as well on his second attempt, but Gernot 133.9, so he's indeed all the way in the pole position. And as we see, when the first lap is faster, some of these drivers are being very clever indeed and trying out their race setup in these conditions already. 24 degrees Celsius air temp 46 degrees Celsius track temp as Andy T comes across the line for his second lap and improves, but only barely. Let's see if that gave him any positions. No, it did not. He's 7 milliseconds off Jamie Hall, so just outside top 10. 11th for car number 11. Thomas Thorpe coming over the line. He won't improve either. Sitting currently in 15th place is Thomas Thorpe. So I think that's actually all of them. Jamie Hall still in his second lap, never mind. Let's see what he can do coming over the main straight. Last corner, pretty sideways there for Jamie Hall. He's going to be trying hard, but he won't improve either. Just barely stays in 10th.
Juan Costa on his final lap. Coming through the final 2 turns 10 and 11. With the absence of the inner loop, the bus stop here. He sits back, actually has not put up a time yet. And that one is going to be good enough for 10th out of a 28-car field. So that is going to do it for qualifying. Gernot Frisch, coming off of last year's championship run, he's going to have the pull over Thomas Simon up there on row number 1. Alex Millward and Chris Baumann, the 4 and the 9. Are going to be back in row number 2 with Nick Tisson rounding out your top 5. He'll be starting alongside the 17 car of Frank Tenkata with Teemu Vaskalampi and Mike Rasmus, the only New Yorker in the field today. Maybe a bit of a home track advantage for him. He rolls off 8th. Martin Gronberg and Juan Costa round out the top 10.
Jamie Hall starting 11th, alongside him the newcomer to the Sunday Grand Prix, Andy T. Svein Ture Duas 13th, John Stevens 14th, Eetu Vainiokangas 15th, Thomas Thorpe 16th, Paul J. Williams 17th, Barry West, the veteran of the series, starting 18th, and 10 in the 19th and 20th position, 10th row, 2 Finns, Severi Seppä and Pekka Kelahaara.
Sean Wiltshire and Derek Roleveld, 21st and 22nd. Dylan Freckleton, Nick Mukanos, back there 24th. Robert Simpkins rounds out the top 25. Then we've got Dennis Shanning, Keith Herner, and Sammy Valimaki rounding out all 28 drivers here. A big field at Watkins Glen. Drivers continue to get gridded up, and we're getting most of them out there. We're getting close here. 28 drivers, 28 laps here at New York's Thunder Road to kick off Season 3 of the 2020 Lotus 79 Sunday Grand Prix Series. Drivers getting all set to go for the action today. Lights are up here at Watkins Glen International. Drivers start to harmonize those engines together. And the number 2 of Thomas Simon and Gernot Frisch are away to the races with 26 cars behind them. It's a side-by-side start as they head down into the 90. Simone going on the outside. There's 1 car off the track already. It's Chris Baumann who has to take to the runoff. Everyone gets sort of through as we've got wrecking in the back, but up front, they continue to go forward. It's Gernot Frisch leading Simone and the rest of them.
Kelahaara and Gronberg out in first lap. They hit each other. It was Gronberg that spun at the exit of the 90 and Kelahaara hit him. But other than that, we have a reasonably clean start all the way through the back of the grid. Already shuffling taking place here on the back straight.
That long back straightaway gets even longer when you take away the bus stop. That's what they're going to have to deal with today on this classic boot layout. Gernot Frisch leads, but it's Alex Millward who got around Simone there with a little bit of slipstream. He gets up into 2nd. Frank Tenkata from 6th on up to 4th, and Mike Rasmus from 8th on up into the top 5.
Yeah, great start for those guys. There's 1 car again in the wall, and that's Juan Costa in the wall at the exit of turn number 6. Other than that, he gets going. No replay needed from that one because it was a mild incident, but he was a little bit too eager perhaps only early on, and as such pays the price for it. But yeah, the mid-pack battles here, they're going to be so interesting. And look at Gernot. Despite the fact that he was so great in qualifying, had a 2:10 difference, so far he hasn't been able to pull out the gap to Alex, to Tamás, to Flick and Kate, to Mike Rasimas either. And Gernot is well known for running the lowest downforce in the field, but Flick and Kate is another driver who can make a low downforce car work. So they're gonna have to stick behind Gernot for now and look for an overtaking opportunity.
Here comes Tenkata. We ride on board with him. He's closing in on Thomas Simon there for that final podium position. But lap 1 completed here at Watkins Glen International. It goes to Gernot Frisch, who already begins to pull away from Millward. All of these drivers, if you'd like to follow along at home, timing and scoring available over at GSRC.tv. They make their way onto the backstretch once again.
Yeah, look at this. Tamás Simón is right behind Alex, but he can't find an overtaking opportunity because Alex gets draft from Gernot. So it's a draft train so far. Fritten Kate being able to stick to it. Mike Rashimas, Nick Thiessen as well, Chris Bauman, Teemu Vaskilampi, Andy T, and Jamie Hall. And Andy and Jamie are looking really feisty here on 9 and 10. I think we should move on to that because that might be an interesting battle. It's a battle between two Brits, and neither of those guys are known to back out from such.
Both of these drivers have moved the field a little bit. They started outside the top 10. Here they are battling for 9th. Andy T leads him down into the heel. And it's a sharp right-hander, and then a little bit of an awkward at the off-camber turn 9. Already saw a couple drivers go very slow over there through lap number 1. And you can see just how much Hall is able to close in on T there.
Yeah, you can, and he was even closer at the end of the straight. He's suffering from a bit of understeer right now. You can see in these fast corners, the dirty air with these Lotus 79 cars, they're ground effect cars, so it's not as drastic, but there is still some. And meanwhile, Fritten Kate is actually pitting. Yeah, I think he took a false start.
Yeah, this is interesting. I was wondering if he just slid at the exit of turn number 11. No, he definitely went in there on purpose. So he gives up his 4th place position.
Yeah, I'm gonna check what happened to him. It could be a false start, or it could be something as simple as leaving qualifying fuel on, but I'm gonna check it. Meanwhile, P2.
Yeah, Alex Millward and Thomas Simón. Simón has no challenge from behind now. Mike Rasmus is quite a ways back now. Over a 1.5 seconds back. So Simón can focus all his attention on Millward. Millward's gonna try to weave a little bit down the back straightaway. Into the chute. Oh, Millward's gonna shut the door.
And John Stevens also in the wall at the chute corner as well. No need to take a replay of John Stevens. And meanwhile, Fritten Kate, a little bit of an update for him. His start looked normal, and he's still sitting in the pit lane. So I wonder if it's a technical issue for Fritten Kate.
Yeah, very tough. He was having a great run and looked like he was moving forward. But as they make their way there, you can see just how tough it is to get over that hill there on board with Alex Millward.
And what this also means for Nick Thiessen is that he no longer has Fritten Kate to pull him along. So Nick Thiessen is actually sitting in 5th place, and he's out of the draft as Tamás Simón and Alex Millward continue the battle. So that's a very interesting point. And he's pulling his own train right behind him as you see the battle for 4th. Nick Thiessen, Mike Rashimas, Chris Bauman, Teemu Vaskilampi, Andy T, and Jamie Hall as well. All of those guys in a real battle. Meanwhile, battle for 2nd is picking up as well. Alex Millward and Tamás Simón side by side, and Simón goes through already, but a bit early in the SS. That means Millward's gonna have a chance back.
Yeah, it's a drag race. He jumped all the way early in the SS still as they were making their way uphill. That allowed a lot more room on this straightaway for Millward to get by, but he's going to be on the outside of the carousel. That track is going to switch back in his favor, though, as they head down into the boot. He's got the inside very close, almost making contact. Simón's going to have to give him the room. Millward's got the position for now.
Great respect for both of those guys, leaving each other enough room, knowing it's a long race, and they can't afford to battle too much over this position. Right now, Alex holds it because Tamás was able to get a better exit of turn number 1 and passed him too early. It's the same thing that happens oftentimes at tracks like Spa-Francorchamps, where if you make the pass into a Rouge Rodilon, that means the guys are going to have a draft back all the way from Kemmel Straight. So I'm going to make a repass, so great job by Alex Millward. And they crucially didn't lose too much time to Gernot. The gap 1.1 seconds. However, Alex is going to have his work cut out for him because that's outside the draft range, and he goes a little bit wide on turn number 10 as well. Tamás going to see that at some point, Alex is going to have to give up that 2nd place if he wishes to battle for the lead. As funny as that sounds.
Yeah, there you can see them on screen. The gap up to Frisha. He's loving it if they keep battling back there for 2nd. Oh, hard over the curbs goes Simón. There's a lot of runoff there, a big wide curb, but you got to be careful when you get it back on track. It looks like he's got to run up through the S's. Let's see what he's able to do with it.
Yeah, Tamás Simón gonna have to go to the outside, I think. Yeah, and you can't really cross over that middle lane either. You can see there, Tamás didn't want to cross over the middle lane, even if Alex left him the room, because there's a huge crest over the middle lane, and the car will bottom out. These Lotus 79s, they run so close to the ground, they will bottom out, and you will lose all the speed if you go over the middle. So that's why Tamás couldn't go there, and it looked like Alex chopped him off a little bit, but Tamás also just had to make an evasive maneuver, so to speak, over the course of that. And as these two continue to battle, or continue to harass each other at least, Tamás looks like he's giving at least a chance to Alex Milward right now to catch up to Genlot. Meanwhile, Nick Thiessen has quite impressively caught up to the pair of them, and actually last time by, Nick Thiessen was 3/10 faster than Genlot Fritsch in the lead.
Yeah, this will make for some interesting competition if Milward can get up there. Frischa's not running away from it, definitely not. He's held about a 1 second gap over second place for the majority of this race. We ride on board right now with Nick Thiessen sitting back and forth. He's getting a great show in front of him of Milward and Simone going back and forth. Simone is really driving this car hard.
He truly is, and he's jostling with Alex Milward all the time. Let's see the lap times here. Genlot Fritsch 136.1, 0.3 is for second, third, fourth, and 0.2 for Mike Rasimas in fifth place. And wouldn't it be something if the New Yorker would be able to step on the podium for the first time in Sunday Grand Prix in front of his home crowd? But here we go again, Tamás Simon and Alex Milward. Alex goes all the way to the inside, and you can see how the draft just stops when Tamás runs over that middle crest, and he just can't get a pass on Alex on the straight line, so he has to work it to the corner, round the outside. But Alex with the inside line looking very great, and Tamás with no chance to pass there. So it looks like not only is Tamás a little bit faster in the corners, but Alex is a little bit faster on a straight line, has less wing, and potentially that's gonna make a very difficult afternoon for the Hungarian driver Tamás Simon. Because if you can't get past on the back straight, you are really gonna run out of opportunities elsewhere on the track with the fast corners where it's very difficult to follow. Essentially, he's hoping for a mistake from Alex Milward.
Yeah, and there you can see Nick Thiessen really closing in. And Ozzy, it almost looks like when Tamás is going up through the S's, it looks like he's too close to Milward. He can't get enough run. Is there any way he kind of back that off without losing a spot to Thiessen?
Yeah, he can back off, and he can lift a little bit from the extra corner.
We've got trouble back. Sorry to cut you off. We've got Paul Williams and Sean Wiltshire sitting kind of awkwardly at the outside of the track. This is down in the boot. Take a look back and see what happened. They were
I got this.
Going down to the heel.
Yeah, Sean Wiltshire, you can see him coming into the corner here a little bit too hot. He missed his braking spot. Look here, you can see it. And then he's just running the back of Paul Williams, and both of them spun out. So Wiltshire hit the curb on the inside, he locked up the brakes, and then both spun, or actually Wiltshire spun on the grass, and Williams just had to wait for him to get out of the way. So both of those guys are now having their race pretty much compromised. Meanwhile, P number 2, they're battling again, Alex Milward and Tamás Simon.
Oh, and this is looking better for Simone for now. Not going to be able to get the job done this time by, though. He's going to really dive it into the chute. Oh, a little bit of contact. Milward's going to go around, and Tiessen's going to get underneath him. More contact. Yeah.
Wow, so that was a big one, and look at this now. Vaskilampi is right behind them. Let's stay with this for now. Michael Simas is dropping back, and Vaskilampi is behind him. Here we see a replay throw. They come into the chute. Alex Milward just got a little bit sideways. Tamás spun him around, and Vasimas comes here, follows the normal line, can't break enough, and makes another contact with Alex Milward. So Alex Milward's season started out pretty much as his last season with a crash, but he's still in the race, although he's running in 9th place right now. So that's a bit of a drop for Alex Milward. But I'm really concerned about the damage. But what this leads to is Tamás Simon dropping down to 3rd place, because it's Nick Thiessen suddenly running in 2nd place, and Gernot Fritsch has a 3.5 second lead.
Yeah, Thiessen really used the popcorn position to his full advantage there. Sitting back, watching the show, waiting for something to happen. Sure enough, it did. He's able to slide through underneath, and he's on up into 2nd now. But yeah, Mike Rasimus really falling back through the field. He's already getting overtaken now by Andy T up through the S's. I just think with that wing, I don't think he's got any straight line speed anymore.
Yeah, look at the front of that car and you'll see why. The left side of the wing is all bent up and the front has damage as well. He has no straight line speed. He's dropping off even in the draft, and it's just gonna be an uphill struggle for him from here on out. Andy T and Jamie Hall getting past him, Teemu Vaskilampi as well. So now we got Gernot running by his lonesome where he belongs pretty much. Tomas Shimon and Nick Thyssen fighting for the second place. Then we got Bauman, Vaskilampi, Hall and T pretty much all fighting for the fourth place. And what a race this has been for Chris Bauman. We haven't mentioned the Swiss driver all that much yet, but he's been running his own pace, started fourth, is still in the fourth place, and this is gonna be a great finish for him if he can pull it off. But that's a pretty big if so far. Still, he's got a chance for the podium if Tomas Shimon and Nick Thyssen continue the battle, as Tomas has gotten past Nick Thyssen on the back straight.
And we ride on board with Andy T. I can report as well, Simone got by Thyssen for second place, just a slipstream maneuver on the back straightaway. So that is where they ride now. It goes Frisha, Simone, Thyssen, Bauman, Vaskilampi on up into fifth place. But here's Andy T trying to chase down Jamie Hall. Continues to march forward through the field. Battle for seventh place now.
Indeed. The Williams and the McLaren fighting it out against each other. And here we see actually going a little bit sideways for Jamie Hall. He went a little bit too wide. He hit the high part of the curb. Now with Lotus 79, you want to either go all the way around the curb or you want to just hit it a little bit. You don't want to hit that middle part because that will make your car bottom out. You get a bad exit. But Andy T, a little bit too anxious to get out of the draft here, choose his lane. And that means Jamie Hall, with the superior straight line speed, is able to hold that position. So Andy is going to have to be a little bit more patient in the draft if he wants to get the overtake done. And I remember when I did my first season with the Lotus 79 in 2016, and the first race of the season was Watkins Glen, I did exactly the same mistake. So yeah, there you go.
Back behind them. That was actually a battle for sixth place, but we see Mike Rasmus back in eighth place, continue to drop back. He's got a couple cars behind him. It's Alex Milward and Svein Toraduas. Again, you're going to have to correct my pronunciation there, Ozzy, but he's about to get overtaken big time with Milward. Milward's still got a little bit of damage himself, though.
Yeah, he's got damage, and that's no wonder. And so does Rasima. So Svein actually is in a great position, the Norwegian driver, I do believe. Duas is in a great position to catch them both here and get himself all the way up to P number 8, but he shouldn't be celebrating too early just in this point in time. But still, Svein was a second faster last time by than Mike Rasimas, who's leading the pack. Milward, is he going to try it on turn number 1? That's going to compromise them both. And Alex, getting a little bit loose, but just manages to hold on to it. And great exit for Mike Rasimas as well, but Mike's going to be a sitting duck here in the straight line.
Riding on board with Sven back there. Now he's in a bit of a popcorn position himself. He's got a perfectly, looks like an intact car. He's going to, look at this, go right on by Rasmus. And I don't know if he's going to be able to catch Milward this lap, but he's at least going to be able to get up there in the tow. And actually, he's going to be stuck side by side with Rasmus through the carousel now.
Yeah, Rasima's doing a great job defending all he can to the outside because he's got no real problems in the corners. You can see Mike will be here, right behind his guys, all the way to turn number 1 because he's got no problems in the corners. It is straight line where he's lacking right now, and that's so frustrating because usually you either choose straight line speed or corner speed, and you put a little wing in your car so that you can run fast in a straight line, but here he lost the straight line speed and he doesn't have the advantage in the corners anymore either. So it's gonna be a lose-lose situation. But what he's doing here is that he's just biding his time, trying to stay in the draft as long as possible and hoping he can hold on to what he's got. He's got Eetu Vainionkangas, Thomas Thorpe next behind him, but those guys are a couple of seconds back. So maybe he can hold them back a little bit longer, but realistically, top 15 for Mike with this condition is an absolute win. It's a shame he can't hold on to that top 5 to battle for the podium, but it's gonna come. Mike is a really talented racing driver and he's gonna get there eventually. Not yet though. Meanwhile, another point I want to bring up, sorry I've been talking way too much in this broadcasting. I'm stealing your thunder here, but Tomas and Nick Thyssen, there's actually a little bit of a gap for him. Tomas Shimon, now that he's in clear air, he's matching the lap times of Gernot Fritsch.
Yeah, I was noticing that as well, and as good as that is to match him, he's still going to need to do a little bit better to be able to reel him in. But based off of what we've seen the last few seasons in the Lotus 79, I'm not sure if that's going to be too realistic. Lots of racing left, though. Only on lap 11 of 28 here at the Glen, so a lot still could happen for Frisha up there with a little bit less than 4-second lead over Tomas Simone.
Yeah, and here you can see the laps as well on the bottom half of your screen. You see Gernot gaining 2.2 seconds on lap 7. That's where they had the incident between Alex Milward and Mike Rosimas as well, where Tomas had the break. And since then, it's been pretty much even Stevens. So is that going to be the one incident that's going to decide the victor of this race? Pretty early on so far to say, but here Jamie Hall and Andy T fighting it out for P number 6.
Yeah, Jamie Hall is getting reeled in. Hall started back in 11th. He's up to 6th. T started back in 12th. He's up to 7th. They've both moved up 5 spots nicely through the field from their qualifying runs. But Andy T, you mentioned that he's the driver we need to watch out for, and Jamie Hall definitely have me to take note of that right now.
He is, and he's been pretty vocal as well with the community. You know, he's a very hungry driver. He wants to beat everybody. Like, got a funny story from Friday practice. I went in and tried my hand at the Lotus 79 after a long time. And, you know, I went, put in a practice time after 3 months off in the car. And I posted the lap time. And Andy T was the first one to go, right, which server I'm going to beat that time. So that just goes to tell about his attitude to race car driving. That he wants to beat the best. And that's exactly the mindset that is going to bring you all the way to the top. Jamie Hall struggling a little bit in the corners again. Andy having an easy time following him, but a hard time getting an overtaking opportunity.
And determination, definitely something that rewards the racing here at Watkins Glen, or in this series, I should say, generally. Ooh, a little bit of curb there, it looked like, for T. Might hurt him here in the boot.
Yeah, and meanwhile, no need to go to it, but in P number 11, Thomas Torp has gotten past Eetu Vainiokangas, and that means Thomas Torp is now leading that duo as they catch up to Mike Rasimas, so there's going to be a movement next lap, and we might want to jump to that on the back straight next time by, not quite yet, because there's going to be Mike Rasimas being a sitting duck and 2 fast guys coming behind him, and we'll have to wait and see if they're going to be both able to get the pass done. But yeah, here we follow Jamie Hall and Andy T, and so far so good for these guys. Their lap times are decent, but what is the most important is not the 6th place here, it's the battle for the best UK driver in this race. Gernot Fritsch puts in the fastest lap of the race and puts a little bit of a stamp on why we call him the Austrian Superman. Der Rottekampfflieger, the Red Baron.
We see these two make their way up through the S's, over the tunnel, and onto the back straightaway. Might see a jump here from Andy T. He gets to the inside. Can he keep it? Oh, he's going to be side by side. Great job to lunge in underneath. Now, what can Jamie Hall do to get him back? Has a little bit of a wobble back there, and that little mistake is going to keep him back there in 7th place, it looks like now.
Yeah, Andy did it right this time by. He got a great run onto the back straight. He followed all the way through the back straight and then moved out at the last point in time, braked late enough to force Jamie's hand to the outside, and Jamie got a little bit loose, and that was pass done for Andy T. Great job for him, and now he's sitting in 6th place. What can he do about Teemu? That remains to be seen. And what can Andy do in clear air? He's got great pace here, but let's see his race pace. There's still 15 laps to go in this one, mind you. So he's got time to rise all the way. Oh, and we got Nick Thiessen around on 3rd place at the penultimate corner. Just coming into the last corner. Nick Thiessen around, trying to wiggle it back. Does manage to do so, and here we see a replay. Nick Thiessen coming into the penultimate corner. It's going to happen on the exit. My guess, he ran a little bit too wide on the curb and lost it there, and just, tried to bring it back. Great job avoiding the wall.
I have seen a lot of Pro-Am drivers in SCCA and other track days go off right there in that very same corner, just like that. Just run a little bit wide, and it just snaps on him. Nick Thiessen now finds himself down in 9th place. That is a big drop-off. He's got Thomas Torp right behind him as well. Torp might get a good run here, actually, on him.
Yeah, he does, and I'm surprised that Eetu Vainiokangas hasn't been able to catch these guys up because he was right behind Thomas Torp. He still hasn't caught up to Mike Rasimas either, so Eetu has dropped back a little bit behind them, but here we are on Thomas Torp, and let's see if Nick Thiessen has any floor damage from that big outing. It doesn't look like he has significant damage, but he's still taking it a little bit careful, adjusting his car, maybe putting the anti-roll bars back to their previous position, trying to see how he can make this wiggly car get back under him, trying to nurse his tires. Thomas Torp, meanwhile, on full attack mode. He can sense the 9th position here.
Nick Thiessen is awfully fast, though, just because he's found himself back in 9th place. Doesn't mean it's going to be an easy pass by any stretch of the imagination here for Torp.
And Svein made a mistake in front of them and didn't spin around, but Svein was a little bit sideways on the turn number 9. Yeah. And that means Nick Thiessen has caught a little bit up to him and means also breathing space for Alex Milward, crucially. So Svein Torreduas, so far so good. He's had a great race so far. Can he keep it? That's a different question. He's going to be under a lot of pressure from Nick Thiessen, from Thomas Torp in these upcoming laps. And look at how wide Nick Thiessen is in turn number 1. He's all the way to the grass. You seldom see that, but that just goes to show how much the Dutchman is pushing at this moment.
Yeah, that's more of a NASCAR line here at this track, and that grass, I believe, is no longer there in the real world. So I'm sure he would like that. If there was no grass there, he could use even more runoff to try to get a good run on Svein Torreduas in front of him, trying to get those spots back. He's definitely closing. This is going to be, like you said, though, it's an uphill battle once you make a mistake from 4th place. Thankfully, he's got quite a bit of racing left. We're just over halfway through this 28-lap race here at the Glen, but still going to be an uphill battle. He's still got some big names in front of him: Millward, Hall, and T, just to name a few. And that's once he gets past, if he can get past Svein Torreduas.
Yeah, and Alex Milward is half a second slower per lap than Nick Thiessen. Svein made a mistake last time by, but his last laps have been 36.4, 36.8, 37.7. So Svein might be struggling at this point in time when your tires start to wear. If he is going a little bit too sideways, it's a hot track, 42 degrees Celsius, mind you. That is a hot temp for Watkins Glen. And that means Svein Torreduas is going to be in a world of trouble if he can't put his car back under him. However, 36.4, he's able to improve just a little bit. How does Nick respond? 35.6 in the draft, and he's going to have a great run here heading onto the back straight.
Yeah, it is. That's 107 degrees Fahrenheit here at the Glen, and these cars really sliding all over the track. But look at this run, like you mentioned, at the exit of the S's. The track straightens out onto the back straightaway here for Nick Thiessen, and I think he's going to be allowed maybe to go past. Maybe Svein Torreduas got off the gas a little.
Yeah, he did. He did, and he didn't want to stop Nick Thiessen, and the reason is that Svein has Thomas Torp coming behind him, and he didn't want to battle. He wants instead this draft from Nick Thiessen to get away from Thomas Torp potentially, and to allow Nick Thiessen to drag him maybe all the way to Alex Milward, who is also struggling a little bit. So it's a great game of patience here from Svein Torreduas, and he's one of those drivers who, despite his lack of experience in the Lotus 79, is showing great racecraft. And what I like seeing most about these young guys, I like seeing guys who are hot-headed, okay, just for their entertainment factor. I like seeing guys who are showing great pace. I like seeing guys improve, but what I absolutely love is a driver with a great racecraft, because you can just explain it so well. You can see what their mind is racing through, that they're able to play the chess at 150, 60, 70 miles an hour. They're able to play the long con, and that's what Duas is doing right now. However, he's struggling to actually keep up to Nick Thiessen, so that's the downside of this plan. Then you let someone through, make sure you can actually follow them, and Svein Torreduas so far not able to do it, but Nick Thiessen, his pace is so good that's no wonder. He's going to catch up to Alex Milward as well, second to lap possible.
Yeah, this gap between Svein back to Torp is the closest gap we've got on track right now. Maybe not for long, though, because Andy T and Jamie Hall continue to go at it for 5th place, and I've been noticing I think Hall might have a little bit less downforce, a little bit less wing on that car because he seems to catch him on the straightaways in the technical portions of the track, like the boot, like they're in now. We're seeing T pull away.
Yeah, and Jamie Hall is known for running a little bit less downforce than most of the drivers. Not quite as extreme as Frick and Kate sometimes. But I remember driving against Jamie Hall, and I remember him being great on the low downforce tracks, like Monza and kind of like this one as well. So Jamie Hall, he's got that bit dialed down, and he's got a lot of experience as a driver from the Nissans as well. So he knows how to handle a car that's a little bit twitchy, a little bit difficult to drive. So Jamie Hall, he hasn't given up quite yet. However, he doesn't quite have the raw pace to catch up to Andretti. So he's going to be hoping for a mistake here from the little bit more inexperienced or a little bit less experienced driver of Andretti. As Chris Baumann actually puts in the fastest lap of the race last time by, and that's without draft, 135.2 compared to Gernot's 135.3. And that means he put in a little bit of a gap between himself and Vaskelampi, who is no slouch either. So that might actually have a little bit of an effect as we go to the latter portion of this race. Chris Baumann, I didn't expect that from him, but good job from the Swissman.
Yeah, there's about 1.3 seconds between Baumann and Vaskelampi. Then another 3 seconds from Teemu back to Andy T, where we see that battle between him and Jamie Hall, which, yeah, like you said, Hall's going to need a mistake out of T because it is just not going in his direction. Back in 12th place, we see Derek Roeleveld, he might be the hard charger today, actually. Started back in 22nd, and he is up to 12th now. 10 spots gained for him. And Mike Rasmus, right behind. I think he was Roeleveld just able to get by there.
Yeah, and in front of them as well, Svein Tore Duas and Thomas Torp are coming really close once again, as are in front of them Alex Milward and Nick Thiessen. Let's go to Milward. He just made a mistake on the 9th corner, and Nick Thiessen is right behind him right now, only 10th and 11th. And look at Alex just sliding that car around. He's so loose, but he can't afford to breathe. He can't allow to cool his tires down because Nick is breathing down his neck.
These are two drivers who are trying to make their way back up to the field. They both had mistakes early in this race. Millward went off in the chute, and Thiessen went off at the exit of turn number 10. Both trying to make their way back up to the field. 7th and 8th place is where they ride now, but Millward might be going one step backwards because Thiessen is going to step out of line here through the S's. He's going to have the outside on the back straightaway and into the carousel. It's a drag race down the back. Millward has to go all the way down to avoid that middle groove, but there's some lap traffic in the way. That's Robert Simpkins who gives heed to these drivers who are side by side still through the carousel, and now as they make their way down into the boot, it might be Thiessen with the advantage as he gets it underneath. No, he can't do it. Millward's going to shut the door.
Magnifique, ooh la la from Alex Milward. You know, at the exit of the SS, he went to 5th gear, I think, Alex Milward did. Just in front of Nick Thiessen. Nick had to lift ever so slightly off the throttle to avoid running into the back of him. And that means Alex Milward was able to pick his line early enough so that Nick wouldn't have the advantage. All the way down the straight, he didn't have to draft, and that meant that Alex was able to keep Nick behind him for just one more lap. However, he's gonna have to be the widest car on this hemisphere in order to keep Nick Thiessen back all the way to the end of this race. Nick has to be a little bit slower on the exit of turn number 1. He's gonna have to leave a larger gap in order to get the better run into the back straight, and I think he's gonna do it right now. Let's see here. Nick Thiessen following him all the way through turn number 1, and yeah, this looks much better.
Yeah, they've still got 7.5 seconds up to the drivers in front of them. Jamie Hall would be the next one, but the battle for right now, just between these two, for 7th place still. Might see more flip-flopping here on the back straightaway. Millward was able to keep it last time. Oh, he's going to go to the outside this time. A little bit different strategy. That's going to allow him to arc it into the carousel a little bit better. Thiessen using all the curb he can to try to get that rotation. He's going to try to cross him over, but he just can't do it. Millward just too quick for him.
Milborg was a little bit too quick, and he was able to get the optimal racing line, knowing that Nick won't have to run on him heading into the carousel. So now this is going to become interesting. What can Nick Thiessen do with his pace? And how long until Thomas Thorpe can actually catch back up to them? Because Thomas Thorpe has gotten past Svaintor Duas, and Thomas Thorpe right now running sub 36, 35.7 last time by, and he's gonna be slowly but surely catching them up if they continue to battle here for P number 7, as Gernot Fritsch just goes under 35, 134.9 for Gernot Fritsch, and just putting a little bit of an exclamation mark on why this man has been so dominant.
And he's opened that lead up over Thomas Simon to almost a 5-second gap. 4.8 now, as you see it there on the left side of your screen. Again, you can follow along at GSRC.tv for all the timing and scoring, all of the gaps and intervals throughout the field. Alex Millward getting caught once again through the S's by Nick Thiessen. They're running out of time, only about 7.5 laps to go.
Thiessen going to the outside this time by making the move, is able to get a little bit of a faster run, but Millward crucially has the inside. What can Thiessen do? Run the outside. He breaks very late, going very sideways, able to hold it. Nice slide here from Nick Thiessen, and he's still kind of alongside as they head to the chute. Can he get past? Yes, he can, because Millward screwed up his braking. He left him too much space, and that's going to cost Alex Millward a nice move.
Thiessen gets through, but all this battling has allowed Jamie Hall to open up an 8-second gap over them, up into 6th place. That is going to take quite a lot of drive from Nick Thiessen and Alex Millward to get back up there. But if there's any silver lining in that big gap, it's that Jamie Hall might find himself in a battle of his own, because Andy T still has not pulled away from him. Only about half a second between those two as they battle for 5th place.
Yeah, and realistically, that's the battle they are hoping to get. They are not really that much faster than Teemu Vaskilampi. In fact, they are slower than Teemu, 4 tenths of a gap last time by. So Teemu still trying to chase Chris Bauman here for 3rd place. But yeah, the battle between Andy T and Jamie Hall. What did they say? Don't leave a tea bag boiling for over 5 minutes or so. This man has been boiling for roughly half an hour here. I think that's gonna be some bitter tea, but I don't think it's a bittersweet tea. I think it's gonna be a bittersweet tea by the end of this race if he's gonna be able to hold on to that 5th place. He screwed up his qualifying a little bit, but that is a great finish for him if he can hold on to it. However, he's under a world of pressure. One mistake and Jamie Hall is gonna be all over this man.
Thiessen and Millward still side by side through the chute. Very close. Thiessen on the outside of the carousel, trying to keep this position, but Millward's gonna got the long way to go around. Thiesen's gonna slide it underneath. A big slide from Millward as he tries to get back on the power. This is a tough go at it for Millward right now.
Yeah, Millward running a little bit wide on the carousel. They got their wheels sort of interlocked, and Millward running over the grass, and that was a great save from Alex Millward as well. Well done to hold it together, but he's trying very hard to stay behind Nick Thiessen, and so far, I must say he's succeeding. And his straight line speed means that he's gonna have an attack chance as long as he's within half a second rather, at the start-finish line and gets a great run out of turn number 1. He's gonna have a chance to attack, but right now, this is the time when Nick Thiessen has to pull the gap, and it looks great so far.
Millward still sliding a lot. Not only are these tires heating up, but this track has also continued to heat up. As we just saw Chris Bauman actually set another fastest lap time of this race. He's still, he'd like that fastest lap over Gernot Fritsch. There are some bonus points involved in that, and that was very important last season in this series as well.
Yeah, they are, and it's usually a championship battle that runs all the way to the end of the season. Remember last season between Gernot and Antti Lepistö? Well, Antti's not here this year, not running full time. Oh, that is a McLaren off the track at the at one of the places. Last corner. So here we go. Coming onto the main straight and into turn number 1, Svaintor Duas. We have a confirmation of the driver here on the right, bottom right of your screen. Going into turn number 1, is he gonna go a little bit wide? Yeah, but that was a weird place to lose it. He lost it on throttle, didn't run too wide, just ran out of grip, and that's a difficult place to get your car back up and going because you're gonna have guys coming in there at a full head of steam, and you have nowhere to avoid. So Sven Torredua is losing a lot of positions.
A2 Vainio Kangas was one of those drivers in the 20 car to come through and just narrowly missed him. That was a wild ride for him as well, but they will both continue on their way. They get it straightened out. Svein Tore Duas finds himself down in 16th place now after that. Vainio Kangas and a couple other drivers getting promoted up there, but A2 up into 10th.
If all the way up to 10th position, this is another rookie driver in this series, mind you. He's, well, there's a couple of guys who have been joining for this season. Eetu is one of them, and he's been practicing a fair bit. He is a great driver, but this is his first real go at the Lotus 79 since a long time, if not ever. And he's doing a great job sticking in the top 10, keeping his car in one piece. And when your car number 20 at the top 10 in a broadcast race, you've done a great job. His pace, it's still a little bit lacking, you know. He's losing a lot of time in the middle portion of the race. Right now, he's being able to pull in some solid lap times last couple of laps, but before that, he was a bit too lax for my liking, so he's gonna have to improve that. But that's gonna come with experience. So Eetu is gonna be another name we'll have to put under our behind our ears, so to speak. We have to remember Eetu for the future of this series because I think he's got a great future ahead of him. Top 5, certainly, podiums, maybe even this season, but that's gonna mean a lot of improvement from here on out. Because at Watkins Glen, we have to remember one more point about this track. Watkins Glen is what you call an easy track with this car. I know, some of you who have driven it are gonna say like, oh, it's not easy at all, there's so many places to make a mistake, and yes, there are. But the basics of the track, it has a great flow, and it's not that difficult to be a second of the leader at Watkins Glen. It's a lot more difficult when you get to places like Detroit, for example.
Yeah, and it's such a tough break. A2 there in the 20 car. He gridded up in the number 20 car. What a shocker to have an over 3,000 iRating and grid up seated number 20. Just shows you just how fast all these drivers are in this series, and just makes that drive just the more impressive. 3,400 strength of field in this race. There's Andy T, one of those drivers that's at 3,800 iRating, trying to fend off Jamie Hall, who's a little bit better in terms of those numbers at about 4,200.
And then we got Gernot.
At what, 8,000 or something last I checked? 8,500. Incredible.
Yeah, that's a lot of iRating. So Gernot's been doing the seal clubbing here in the CDC for a couple of seasons now. I'm just kidding. It's great that we have a final boss in this series, you know. A consistent final boss who is able to just, you know, constantly be there to be the guy that sets the benchmark, which everyone is trying to catch up to, who everyone is aspiring to beat. And that's Gernot Fritsch, who puts in another fastest lap and says, not today, guys, not you, Tomasz, not you, Chris, not you, Teemu. Oh, and goes in the wall, Andy T. Andy T hard in the wall on the main straight. He lost it on the last corner, and that's a lot of damage.
Yeah, that's not good for him at all, because it really is a lot of damage, and that car is really bogged down now. He is crabbing quite badly. Lots of suspension. It's broken, I think. That is a heartbreaker with just a few laps left for Andy T. Such a promising race, such a way to make it an entrance into this season.
And you know, for Andy, next time that happens, I have a little bit of a tip for you. 2-foot magic save. That would have saved you there. You know, when you're on the throttle, just slam the brakes and put your steering wheel straight, and then you can hold it. And P number 11, meanwhile, further back behind them, Barry West and Derek Rolleveld. Rolleveld is 11th, Barry West 12th, and let's see what the veteran of this series, Barry West, can do here on the last couple of laps, as Andy T is still struggling with his car. So that's also an interesting point. Let's stick with this one for now. Derek Rolleveld and Barry West battling it out, because these guys too, they have great positions for them already, and they are gonna be potentially getting a top 10, as Andy continues to drop back.
Ooh, as they get so close there, Barry took a stab at it. Up through the toe, and Roeleveld just got this position a few laps ago. He has been on a tear, like we mentioned, up from outside the top 20, up to now 11th place. And with Andy T falling back, I wouldn't be surprised if Roeleveld's able to snag a top 10 with this run.
He's gonna be, because Andy's doing a great job holding onto his car so far, but he's gonna be falling back hard with that car.
There he is. And he stayed out of the pits, which you can't blame him. Only got 2 laps left. You can limp it around for what you can make of it. But yeah, this is...
yeah, maybe a top 10. Not a top 10, but maybe a top 12 or 13. Let's see if we can hold Rasimas back. But meanwhile, coming to turn number 1. Oh, look who missed the apex. Derek Roeleveld missed the apex just a little bit on turn number 1. Turned in a little bit too early, rather. And that means he's going to have a bad run heading onto the back straight. And Barry West, he is within a chance here. Is he going to go inside or outside? It looks to be the inside line. Okay, let's see what they can do here. Oh, Barry went out of the drop a little bit too early, and that means no opportunity, at least on the straight, but maybe into the corner.
He hits that wall of air, and it really stalls his car out. We've seen that a couple times tonight with such a long and really deceptive back straightaway here at Watkins Glen. You think you can jump out and get an easy slingshot, and you really can't in these cars, it seems. Roeleveld knows that. That's why he's going to be able to hang on to this 11th place position, and the opportunities are few and far between now, because we are down now to almost our white flag lap, and we are Gernot Frisch down into turn number 1 for the final time as he goes purple. So that's a 134.3, a blistering speed around here.
Yeah, and look out for him to go even faster on the last lap, because that's what Gernot does. It's a tradition in the series. Meanwhile, further back, it's again Roeleveld versus West going into the last corners. Now, how far are they from Andy T?
They just got by him.
Oh, yeah, okay. So into the last corner they come, and this is gonna be a great last lap battle. Can Barry West improve? He's a little bit too close for the back straight. Will he go for it in turn number 1?
So this is now a battle for 10th, and he is gonna look down into the 90. Barry West can't quite do it, but Roeleveld's not able to hit his apex. That is gonna allow West to get a good run up through the S's. What can he do with it? Is he going to be able to jump out of line and take a shot at him down into the carousel or the chute?
Come on, Barry. Be patient, patient, patient. Follow him,
see.
follow him, follow him, follow him. Yes, he's following him. All the way to the corner.
Stays in his tracks for now. When's he going to jump? There he goes, down into the inside. Roeleveld can't quite shut the door. Maybe the crossover. Oh. Barry West with a big sideways slide. And that is going to do it for that battle. Gernot Frisch is going to come out of the final turn. He got 4 wins last season. He's looking for more, but he's getting started on the right foot. A win at Watkins Glen to kick off Season 3 in the Sunday Grand Prix Series for Gernot Frisch.
And it's Tamás Simon coming home in second place. Chris Baumann finishing in a great third place. He's gonna round out your podium ahead of Teemu Vaskilampi, Jamie Hall, and Nick Thyssen, who is gonna end up in 6th place. So that's a lot of guys who had a great start of the season, and certainly a lot of points in the back as well. And we have Nicolas Mukanos and Dennis Shanning in 15th, as well as ahead of them Andy T, Mike Rasimas, and Severi Seppa coming to the last corners. Look at Andy T in the penultimate corner, actually.
Andy T trying to hang on to 12th place. That's Mike Rasimas behind him, another beat-up car, and they're going to have a drag race to the line. This is going to be close. It looks like Andy T is going to get that job done. He comes across 12th and 13th. Mukanos behind him. He'll come across in front of Dennis Shanning for 15th as well. And with that being our last battle here on track, we are going to step aside here on the Global Sim Racing Channel for a few moments, but upcoming events are going to slide across your screen, so make sure to mark them down on your calendar. We'll be back with a full rundown of results and some driver interviews.
Here is where the drama starts. Lap 30, 8 laps to go. Sandovi hoping to take advantage of these lapped cars. Pileski goes, dives onto the right side. Very aggressive here. This is lap 4. The two Viceroys. Bill Frazier ahead of Matt Pileski. Frazier's off. Frazier hit the grass. You hit that tire wall, your day is done. Well, now it's lap 20. The Williams still trying to get around the Terrell team as he'll go around the lap car and around those at the same time. At the same time. He's got the inside corner of Willie ride the curb. Yes, he will. He will get him on the inside. Vita Maria leading us all into Moss's corner. Look at the beauty as his right side will cook the grass a 180, no, a 360. Oh. Who will yield going into this corner? It's really not meant for too wide as it will be Gernald. Gernald will yield. Lots of smoke picking up from that Williams car. He is pushing it to the absolute limit. 26 of 30 now. Only 4 laps to go. He's going to get the run coming out the final corner. He's going to pull up side by side with the leader. It's going to be a drag race to the finish. Who is going to get there first? It's going to be...
Welcome back to Watkins Glen International, where the sun is starting to set and the dust has just settled as well from the opening round of the Lotus 79 Sunday Grand Prix Series, where Gernot Frisch, he picked up right where he left off last season. He's going to take home the victory, 5.6 seconds over Thomas Saint-Simon. Chris Baumann from 4th on up to 3rd. Teemu Vaskilampi with a 4th place finish. Jamie Hall will hold off Nick Tisson and Alex Millward, 5th, 6th, and 7th. Thomas Torp and Eitsu Vainio-Kangas back in 9th. Derek Roeleveld from 22nd up to 10th as our hard charger of the night. Ozzy.
Barry West coming home 11th, just behind Derek. Andy T able to limp the car home in the same position where he started. He's gonna round out your dirty dozen. Then it's gonna be Mike Rosimas 13th, Severi Seppa 14th, Nicolas Mukanos 15th, Dennis Shanning 16th, Paul Williams 17th, Dylan Freckleton 18th, Keith Herner 19th, and Sami Välimäki rounding out your top 20, as well as the drivers who actually finished the race. I'm going to round out your retirees quickly. Svein Duas, Robert Simpkins, Felix Tenkate, Juan Micosta, Sean Wilcher, John Stevens, Martin Granberg, and Pekka Kelahara, all classified as retired from the race. So a big DNF for those guys, big F in the chat. But not big Fs for these guys, just a big W. Nicholas Schmeek is talking to our race winner next.
Gernot Frisch indeed with another big win to kick off the season. And Gernot, that's got to be a good way to start this 13-week season, I would imagine.
Yeah, definitely. Just the right way to start into a new season. On the other hand, it hasn't been as easy as maybe it looked like, because I really profited from the battle in the beginning between Thomas and Alex. Otherwise, it would have been much more difficult for me.
Yeah, well, I was about to say Watkins Glen is really not an easy track to be able to pull away from someone. The battling definitely helped you, but was there any kind of setup change or downforce wing setting that you had that benefited you? We couldn't quite tell what the perfect setup was around here.
In the end, I tried to go for a setup for a good top speed, because if you fall back at the start, for example, you need to find a way by the other cars somehow. So top speed helps. On the other hand, you always have to find a compromise between grip and top speed.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got a much different challenge for you next week in this series. We're headed to VIR, Virginia International Raceway. These are a couple tracks, the Glen and VIR, who were not on the calendar last season. So what kind of challenges are you facing there? Are you liking this car at VIR? It certainly seems interesting.
For me, it's one of the best tracks for this car. Definitely, many people don't like it. I don't know why, because it's such a great track. Just a little bit, dated graphics wise. Otherwise, it's fantastic. So I'm really looking forward to that.
We'll have to see if you're able to go back to back and pick up your second win of the season there. Gernot, thanks for stopping by and congrats on this win. Anyone you want to give a shout out to before we let you go today?
Yeah, shouting out to all the people doing this series, because we had a great start with many drivers participating today. So congrats to Tamas and Chris, who did great as well. See you guys. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Gernot. And yeah, great to see those drivers finish up there in the podium. That's Gernot Frisch getting the win this season to kick things off here in the Lotus 79 Sunday Grand Prix Series. Ozzy, you've caught up with another driver. It's one that you've talked to a few times before, Teemu Vaskilampi, who winds up back in 4th place.
Yes, Teemu, hello, hi, and first of all, congratulations on not crashing out of the season opener this time.
Yeah, better start than last season for sure. For some reason, I was so excited of this start of the season. For some reason, there's a lot of new people, a lot of new fast people, and some of them who I know from before. So it's nice, and it wasn't the start I hoped for, but it's better than hitting the wall.
Yeah, it sure is. So, Teemu, how was your race overall? You started in 7th place, a lot of great battles, and a lot of interesting times for you as well. So, talk us through your race at Watkins Glen.
Well, I had much more pace at qualify. I pretty much did the second last corner in 4-wheel drift and lost few tenths there. So it was very bad position to start. But I have practiced my launch for this season because of Antti. I didn't want to get jumped by Antti anymore, and now he isn't even racing anymore, Lotus. So that was disappointing. And I got very good launch, but Nick failed to start in front of me, and he basically didn't move. And I hit his rear tire a bit, and there went my launch. And after that, it was just trying to do something, get close enough, but it was just not possible. And I think I burned my front tires trying to get close. But then some things happened, and I gained positions by luck. But with Chris, I tried really hard to get close to Chris and to overtake position. But I felt like I kept ruining my front tires, and I had to calm down and try again. But it was very, very hard. Just couldn't do it.
So, first of all, a question about next week or next weekend rather. It's going to be a midsummer in Finland. Are you going to be racing at the Virginia, or are you going to be doing more traditional midsummer celebrations?
I'm probably racing, yeah. And Virginia is one of my favorite tracks, so I don't want to miss that. There's time to do those traditional things some other day.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. So you're gonna be there on VIR as well. So
Yep.
what do you think about this season? Are you gonna be
There's more understanding about setups. I think I had some advantage last season, quite quite in quite many races with setups, and now I don't think that advantage is gone, and there's new fast people around. And Gernot was not ready start of last season. He found his pace later, but now he's fast from the beginning, so it's always that's gonna be so difficult to beat him first of all.
Yeah, okay, that's fair enough. Okay, Teemu, lastly, any greetings and such before we go?
All the Lotus 79 guys, it's gonna be a nice season, I think, and you guys for broadcasting.
Okay, thank you very much, Teemu. And next, we are gonna have Nick Schmeek talking to a serious veteran whose race we followed all the way to the end. Nick, take it away.
Yeah, absolutely. I've got Barry West caught up with him, the UK&I driver who finishes in 11th place. But Barry, what a march forward from 18th on up. That's a lot of traffic to deal with, lots of cars to pass.
Yeah, that was a good one. Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, we've
Hear me?
got you.
Yeah. I got caught up in Yoami's spin the first lap. I think Paul Williams got past me. I'm just watching now, but yeah. Apart from that, it was quite eventful. We were in a great little battle, about 5 cars, and I decided this is getting a bit serious, so I'm going to stay back a bit and watch what happens. And fortunately, it did kick off, and I managed to get through. But then the last few laps, I caught Derek up, and the car felt really good, and I was really pushing it. And I was all over the back of him, but he just told me on chat that he took 2 clicks out of the wing, and I only took 1 click out. And I put half a gallon more fuel in just to be sure. So I just didn't have the speed on the straight. But yeah, it was a really enjoyable race. I love this track.
Yeah, it's always crazy to see how the different setups play out, especially at a very fast track like Watkins Glen. You being back in traffic, we were able to interview some of the front runners, but being back kind of in the mid pack, I'm curious as to how passing was coming up through the S's and onto the back straightaway. What kind did you have any struggles there dealing with the wall of air that you hit when you jumped out of line, or the slipstream? Did that help you at all? How was I mean, you're able to move up 7 spots. It seems a lot easier, of course, moving up those spots than some of the front runners.
Yeah, I mean, no, because the only time I really tried a slipstream was on Derek, and he was a little bit quicker. I don't know what his top speed was, but I tried a few times around the inside and the outside of the carousel, the long sweeping right, and he managed to hold it all the way each time. And then I thought the last time I tried, I decided to just stay in the draft and just pull out at the last minute so that I could try and break a bit later on the inside. But no, he held it around the outside quite well.
Awesome. Well, that was a great race for you to move on up through all those spots. Hopefully, we get to talk to you more later on in the season. Before we let you go today, is there anyone you want to give a shout out to?
Oh, well, now it's going to be a really competitive season. There's a lot of fast guys coming in, and I just glad to get P11, to be honest. I mean, I've had a good week all week, but yeah, no, I just thank all the people for coming because there's so many races now, and it's got so many more cars. So it's going to be a really interesting series this season. Yeah.
Sure will be fun to watch. Thanks for stopping in, Barry.
Yeah, cheers, and bye.
That's Barry West finishing 11th place. And Ozzy, you've got one last driver to interview, the driver who found himself, unfortunately, just one spot there behind Barry, Andy T, who winds up in the top 12.
Yes, indeed. Andy, first of all, ever heard of a 2-foot magic save?
Yep. Did I do it? Nope.
Why not?
I kind of was on autopilot at that point. And you know that panic sets in when you feel something bad is happening and then your brain doesn't work? Yeah.
Okay, are you going to be racing next week at Virginia?
Yeah, definitely. Although I don't know the track at all, so it's going to be tough.
Okay, excuses there already. Thank you, Andy, and got any greetings for our viewers?
Just thanks to Teemu, first of all, because he got me started in this car, and I wouldn't be anywhere close to where I am without him. So you can blame him for that. In fact, I should probably blame him because I'm emulating him in races now. And also thanks to Jake and Dino for all the support.
Thank you, Andy. And well, good luck for next week. And Nick, I believe you have some final words for our broadcast.
I do indeed. We want to give a special thank you to everyone who came out today for the season opener of the Lotus 79 Sunday Grand Prix Series, including all the drivers, the very competitive drivers who put on the show for us today. We're looking forward to seeing those drivers for the rest of this season. It's going to be a fun one. An additional thanks to all the amazing companies that provide the software and hardware that we use to create a GSRC production for you. We also, of course, want to thank the very talented June Lalonde who provides our music. See the screen for more on how to get a hold of more of her great work. Thanks to the crew today in the booth, Ozzy, Sean, and Dougie. And don't forget to check out the GSRC on social media. You can go to our website, globalsimracingchannel.com, where you can help show your support as well by picking up some awesome GSRC merchandise. We're also on Twitter at GSR Channel, on Facebook at Global SimRacing Channel, on Instagram at GSRC_Graham. And you've already found our YouTube channel, so if you haven't done so already, scroll down and hit that big red subscribe button so you don't miss a second of racing. The PRL NASCAR Cup Series is going to be doing some road racing of their own tonight. They'll be taking on Sonoma Raceway live on GSRC at 8:50 p.m. Eastern. Make sure to check that one out. And to see more of today's racing, like we said, we're going to be headed south to Virginia International Raceway for round 2. So be sure to tune into that one. With all that being said, thanks so much for joining us today. And until next time, race clean, race hard, and we'll see you on the track.